She is a digital marketing specialist who can spin the meanest website around.
And he's host of the TV show Buzz, which features nonprofit organizations receiving marketing makeovers.
Here on Buzz for Good, we talk all things nonprofit, the people they serve and the good they do.
And we talk to creative professionals and provide marketing tips and tools to help your nonprofit achieve more.
That's right.
Buzz!
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Buzz for Good, and happy Hispanic Heritage Month, which starts today, September 15th, and runs through October the 15th. We are going to shake things up a bit here for today's show. Rather than posting to our podcast the full hour of our radio show that airs on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on WFIR, I am going to start posting individual interviews when appropriate, such as today's conversation with the two founders of the Latinas Network, a nonprofit that provides entrepreneurial resources and support for Hispanic women. We are also going to chat about the public events happening throughout Southwest Virginia to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. And that conversation will feature the two co-founders of Latinas Network, Kat Pascal and Ileana Sepulveda. But real quick, I want to remind everyone to tune in this Wednesday, September 21st, 7 p.m. to Blue Ridge PBS or our YouTube channel at Buzz for Good. That's BUZZ 4 Good, for our newest Buzz episode featuring St. Francis service dogs and the pro bono marketing help that they received from Carrie Cousins and Lead Point Digital. You can find out more on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and that's right, TikTok, at Buzz for Good, BUZZ 4 Good. You can also learn more on our website, buzzforgood.com. And now it's time to fiesta with Hispanic Heritage Month and the Latinas Network. All right, well, it is my good fortune to have here on Buzz for Good Ileana Sepulveda and Kat Pascal, co-founders of the Latinas Network. And I should say we are gathered at 16 West in downtown Roanoke, so there's a little background noise going on. And I will say there was even more background noise going on when Ileana and I were gathered here, and in walks Kat, who knows everybody, and you can hear her voice throughout the place, and it's just fabulous. Always a pleasure. Thank you all guys so much for coming and talking about Hispanic Heritage Month.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely. So, we had a little conversation back around Cinco de Mayo, which felt a little forced, a little fake. I will not be honest with you, because I know that's not really a big thing. It's really confined to Mexico, and doesn't represent all of Hispanic heritage, and it's not really that big of a deal in Mexico, but we Americans have made it into a big thing. I think we just wanted an excuse to drink on May the 5th.
We'll take it as well.
But this feels a lot more authentic for us to be here today and chat about all that you guys are doing with Latinas Network to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. All right, so Kat, first question here. Hispanic Heritage Month goes from September the 15th to October the 15th, which seems strange to have a month that actually spans 2 months. What's the history behind that?
That is probably like the number one question that we get.
Okay.
And there are 5 countries that celebrate Independence Day on the 15th of September.
Ah.
That's Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua.
Okay.
And then the following day, 16th, Mexico. It's not May.
It's not May 5th.
May 5th. It's not May 5th.
Cinco de Mayo.
It is the 16th of September. It's Mexican Independence Day.
Oh.
And then you've got Chile celebrating on the 18th. And then we've got Dia de la Raza, which is Columbus Day, on the 12th of October.
I see. All right. So all of that. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. That is
It
always.
all falls like in between. So then we all celebrate.
I see. Okay. Well, that I guess maybe even explains in part. I mean, why do we feel the need? Why is it important to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month?
Well,
Ileana.
to try to highlight all the multicultural population that we have in this beautiful country,
Yeah.
and to bring up to the attention all the culture and the contributions that we bring.
Yeah, yeah. Even here in little old Roanoke, believe I've read that the Hispanic population accounts for about 5% of the overall population, at least according to the census. However, there's some speculation, I think you guys have shared with me before, that actually due to maybe some underreporting,
Yeah.
that the
Yeah, that
Hispanic
happens
population
a lot.
maybe even be like closer to 10% of the overall population.
We think so, yeah. So we
Yeah.
definitely think it's underrepresented in the census reporting, and that's for many reasons. I mean, the census report, I think this is the first year it was like in Spanish as well, in another language. There's also maybe some confusion on the actual demographics that you're selecting. You know, are you
Race
what the race is?
versus- yeah.
Yeah, versus the what's the other origin or something. So I mean, there's even confusion when filling this out.
Yeah.
Even as an English speaking or fluent English speaker. And then some people don't even trust how to, like, where is this going to? Is it
Yeah.
government related? Like, you know, the sense of trust is not there. So yes, I do believe that the census is underrepresented for many reasons and potentially barriers.
Real quickly, why don't we first reintroduce people to what is the Latinas Network? Kat.
Hey, so Latinas Network is a nonprofit organization in the Roanoke Valley and New River Valley that helps professional Latina women or entrepreneurial women with representation, professional development, and business development. So we kind of envision a world where everybody has economic impact in our communities.
And it's not just for entrepreneurs, and we'll get to that later on in our conversation. There's a lot of youth development and whatnot, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about that later. Ileana, anything else you want to add to what Kat has to say?
And what we want to aim is to bring resources to our community. So we gather and we meet each other, we create social capital, and we work through education or through advocacy to bring more resources to the Hispanic community in the area.
Why don't you give us some highlights of some things that are happening for Hispanic Heritage Month locally that are really open to everybody?
So among our mission is to gather all the resources for the community. So we're creating a calendar, and we did this last year, and it was very popular, where we gather all the events and everything that is going on around the community. This year we have a lot of events. It's going to be pretty exciting.
And this list is at latinasnetwork.org. So LATINAS network.org, where you can find a full list of calendar events
Yes.
for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes, and
Okay.
we'll have a link in our social media account as well
Okay.
to that calendar. So the very first one is the Caminemos one. Can you talk about it, Tad?
Yeah, so Roanoke Small Business Development Center, right here in the downtown area, is excited to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. I am their Hispanic business advisor, so it kind of aligns and it makes sense. So what we did is we found 3 to 4 restaurants that we wanted to hear from the owners. We get to hear their story, the type of impact that they have here in the Roanoke Valley, and we get to learn about their menu and what inspires them. So Latino or Hispanic Heritage Month is all about celebrating the contributions of the Hispanic and Latino community in the United States. So what can we do? We start locally, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to be visiting those restaurants. I'm going to throw out some fun facts. We're going to hang out with we're going to have some flags and take pictures and introduce ourselves. And hopefully this will become an annual event for the Small Business Development Center because, they're a part of our community that need some resources, and they're a fast-growing community. So I think it's in everybody's benefit to learn from them.
Yeah. So, Caminemos,
Caminemos.
and that means we walk together.
Yeah, let's walk.
Let's walk.
Let's walk. So
Nice.
it's a guided walking tour.
Okay.
You do have to register because
Yep.
we have limited space, and it's on Tuesday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
And that's Tuesday, September the 20th.
That's right.
Okay. And what restaurants will be part of this?
So we are visiting Lenore Restaurant.
Okay.
That's Venezuelan owned. We've got Tu Chill. She is from Costa Rica. We've got Tacos Rojas from Mexico. And we've got one up our sleeve that we're just hoping that we go ahead and get confirmed. Yeah.
So-
So if we have enough time, we'd love to visit all of them.
That's wonderful. All right. So that's one event on September the 20th. We also have, I believe the night before, you mentioned September the 19th at the Belmont Branch Library. There's going to be an event there. How did that come about?
I know that the branch manager, Lucy Salinas, is Puerto Rican. She has Puerto Rican family, and she also has loved celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. And I know that I've just seen her promoting this recently. So anytime that one of our gals, one of our amigas are posting stuff, we make sure and we capture that and help them promote that opportunity for the community.
Okay.
So they have a live mariachi band, they have crafts, a taco bar, and that event is from 6 to 7.
Wonderful. So that's at the Belmont Branch Library on Monday, September the 19th. Then we've got some big events celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. On October the 1st, Local Colors will be hosting its Latin Festival. And where will that be? Is that at the...
That happens downtown.
Downtown?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called the Wells Fargo Plaza.
Yeah, right.
And so it's right behind the City Market building and between, the Wells Fargo Plaza, right?
Yeah, right.
And Billy's. It becomes, so they have vendors, they've got nonprofits with booths, they've got tons of food, tons of
Yeah.
entertainment. We love to support them whenever we can, so you'll see us out there. And
Yeah, last year they had the same Latin festival, and they had a proclamation by the city with Councilwoman Vivian Sanchez-Jones there and the city officials
wonderful.
proclaiming Hispanic Heritage Month.
Okay.
yeah, I'd say that they have been pioneering this Latino festival for a while now. So I don't know what annual this is for them, but it's absolutely a fantastic time. It's
Yeah.
very family friendly, and you can enjoy music, eat, and have your kids there too.
That's awesome. So that's going to be Saturday, October the 1st, and that's being produced by Local Colors. And then the last major event, at least that we have so far, is at the Taubman Museum on Friday, October the 7th, and that is Late Night, the Art of Salsa.
Yes, that is our baby. We love that because last year it was like the inaugural late night event, and we had Salsa Noke out there teaching
Yep.
us how to dance some salsa, do some bachata, do some merengue. We had the food. It was like shrimp tacos that we were having. We also made a slideshow.
Yeah, we feature local Latino professionals. So we had last year, because COVID was still big among us, we
Yep.
had all the scientists working at BTEC feature in one of the slideshows. So
nice.
it's so great to see so many successful Latina women in the region and showcase them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sometimes they're not, like fully high, like out there, like, hey, here's my face, here's what I'm doing, because they're in the trenches, they're doing their work, and they're doing some fantastic and phenomenal, impactful work. So for us to have the opportunity to show them at the Taubman Museum in front of their peers, their community, I'd say it's a highlight of. It's actually one of the best, or my favorite parts of it, because we get to highlight everybody who's a part of the community. And if they don't know about Latinos Network, and if they don't know about how to, kind of put out their efforts out to the world, then, we're here to support that for them.
Lovely. Well, some great events coming up, so I hope everyone will go to Latinas Network, LATINAS network.org, and find out more about all of the Hispanic Heritage Month events that are being produced here in the Roanoke and New River Valleys. Once again, I'm being joined here on Buzz for Good by Kat Pascal and Ileana Sepulveda, who are co-founders of the Latinas Network. You mentioned at the start that Latinas Network was founded really to provide some support and resources for women, Hispanic women who are entrepreneurs, business owners. What specifically do you do to help entrepreneurs in the region?
So we focus on 3 areas: business development, professional development, and representation. And what we're aiming is to achieve financial success or economic success, because that will help us with palliate some barriers that the community has.
We'll talk about some of those barriers. What are they for Hispanic women and men in the region?
Well, you can have some lack of access to resources, lack of access to just information, education. You will also have lack of access to capital. That's big when you want to start a business. So just knowing what resources are. Sometimes it's just not being bilingual or not understanding the culture. So the help navigating all the resources is what we want to promote and get closer to the community.
So you're saying that in many cases the resources are there, but people just don't know about it.
Yes.
And then in other cases the resources maybe are there, the people know about it, but they can't communicate to get those resources.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we kind of help them just navigate the system sometimes, or even connections. I mean, think about how many times you had a friend of a friend who knew somebody or knew something or of a resource, then how you were able to excel or even propel yourself into the next level just through that connection. So this is all about the connections, and Ileana talks a lot about social capital, which I think is so important in the network that we have, because each one of us are experts in our fields, and then once we connect, then we're able to we can take over the world.
Yeah. Is there a particular individual, you don't have to name her, but I mean a case study that you could share with us who has benefited from Latinas Network?
Well, we have one of our co-founders has, through Latinas Network, found a new job, for example, with one of the business owners that is part of our network. So you get those connections, you get a lot of success stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that, and I think that's happened 2, 3, or 4 times, just off the top of my head. We are working on our case studies and actually having those impact. We did have an impact report created last year of more qualitative data, where it was more of like a narrative report, and that was done by residents research and data, and that was a fantastic opportunity for us to know what it is that our community needs, what it is that our members are saying, and that's how we continue to evolve what our programs look like. And so yeah, I mean, we're going to be able to create a lot more case studies, and we'll be posting those and having those on our website too.
And I think one of the results of that study as well was our work with youth mentorship, because it was brought to our attention that we need good role models, and starting from very young age is a better way to advocate and to try to incentivize all of our youth to get more resources and get more education. So we created Leading Latinas Club, and we work with youth from 13 to 18 years old in a program that brings resources and also more information to them. And this one is primarily in Spanish, because that's also one of the barriers that we want to bridge, the ones for the population that speaks little English.
Okay, so that's the Leading Latinas Club. And is that just for young girls, or is that for girls and boys?
Right now we're focusing on girls.
Okay.
It's very different, the type of information that you bring. So we first our pilot project was during the spring, and we're still learning. But
well,
yes.
that's your area of expertise. Obviously, I want to make sure I had Latinas and not Latinos correct. And what schools is that operating through a school or outside of school? When
the pilot program was done through William Fleming High School.
Okay.
We had spring session last semester of the school, and we had about 20 girls, anywhere from 13 to 19 years old. Different grade levels, but had an interest in seeing other Latina women, asking them questions. We essentially went in with a blank canvas and said, what do you all want to learn? What do you all want to hear from us? And so some of that came from, or the topics were from business ownership to family planning to how to raise a family or how to be successful at a young age. And so cultivating that mindset of learning, but also feeling that trust that they were having with us. I feel like that's one of our best projects so
It
far.
was so rewarding.
A rewarding project, right?
Yeah,
Like seeing that, I mean, representation matters. And at this point, we were able to see that firsthand with these young women who just wanted to ask us, like, what is it like to be bilingual and go into business? What is it like to not know the language, or how long did it take you to learn English? I'm finding a hard time. And some of these girls didn't speak English. Some of them were only here in the country for a few months. Some of them were not accompanied by their family, did not have their most immediate family. So finding that connection that they have with us, it felt like a safer place, and now they have a resource that they can go to if they have any question.
Excellent. Well, wonderful. What other programs do you have besides your entrepreneurial development and your youth development?
So our staple program is the Lunch with Leaders, and we meet once a month, the third Friday of the month, at the Williamson Road Library. And that one aims to create the community and to kind of provide a space where all the organizations that work for or with Hispanic community come together and share their resources. So kind of a catalyst to reach more the community.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, you guys are doing great work, and you were founded in 2020,
Yes.
right? I mean, so not the ideal time to start an organization, or maybe it was.
It was the perfect time, in our opinion. It was much needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all of us come from different experiences, but what we had in common was that we wanted a community or a place that we could gather. And so ultimately, it was coming together and saying, why do we want this? What can we develop from one another? What kind of relationships and what kind of professional development can we learn? And so it started almost like a social club in a way, but we were very intentional with having those three pillars at the beginning and continuing to develop them through hearing what it is that our members are wanting, what it is that the community is wanting, what it is that the organizations that have the resources need. And so this is like an evolving project and an organization at all times, and the founding members have been here the whole time too. So we have seen this flourish and continue to have many volunteers and support for the organization. So it was the perfect time. It was much needed. It was much needed before pandemic. And honestly, when we started to look at numbers, and when me in particular, for the business side, what you saw is a lot of women were leaving the workforce. You saw Hispanic women open businesses at a faster rate than our counterparts, but then we're leaving the workforce, we're having to be the caretakers. So there's a lot of barriers that are getting in the way of what is our advancement. And so how do we continue to support one another? That's how Latinas Network kind of came about.
Fantastic. Well, once again, joined here on Buzz for Good by Ileana Sepulveda and Kat Pascal, co-founders of the Latinas Network, which will be celebrating its second anniversary on December the 8th with a celebration at the Benton War Memorial. And is that open to the public, or is that going to be just for your members?
Yeah, you'll have to register.
But it's always so. We don't just welcome Latinas, and it's Latinas and Latinos and allies, and we get a lot of allies, and that's very good to connect the community with everyone else. So yes, it's open to anyone.
Okay, and so you can find out more about that at latinasnetwork.org.
On our website, so you'll be able to register.
Okay.
We make sure that all of our events are accessible or that have some form of low fees associated to them. So thus far, everything has been free. Everything has been very accessible. And so we're still, as a board, deciding, do we need to charge for this one coming up? But ideally, the opportunities that we can have is the partnerships. And so by having sponsors, by finding the sponsors and the funding, then we're able to access more people and allow more people in the event so that's not a barrier for them to come in.
Right.
You'll find that information on the website. But yeah, our 2-year anniversary should be a lot of fun. Last year we had about 150 to 180 attendees.
It was a big party.
Yeah. Well, To that end, so you mentioned that it's open to the public, as long as they register. And so, which leads me to wonder, what can the public do to support you guys, and what would you guys like to do to support other communities in our region?
So this is a volunteer-based and run organization. So we're always looking for more volunteers, and we're also a nonprofit organization, so a 501c3. And so we welcome and encourage donations. With the donations that we get, we are able to put together all the other programs that you just heard about.
Okay. So people could make a contribution. They could become a volunteer. They could support your events. But you mentioned before we started recording that you guys are also wanting to partner with other organizations to help them. So, like, what did you have in mind when it comes to that?
So if they have, for example, if there's a school, if there's an organization that is wanting to do some type of youth mentorship or have maybe a Latina woman in part of their board, if they're wanting to have as part of their field trips. We find different areas that we can kind of fall into and continue to enhance what it is already happening, so that we are not recreating this wheel. Everything that we've done is only enhance and spotlight and highlight things that are happening, along with giving maybe our professional advice or any type of things that we can see that might be more beneficial to the community. So if you have projects that you want Latinos Network at, feel free to reach out to us. We are always looking for partnerships. Our ideal partnerships are always with other nonprofits or big corporations that want to tailor some programs maybe to their Hispanic employees or team members. And so if they have a DEI focus, those are the areas that we can leverage and help in. So utilize us as a resource. Yeah.
Well, I think that perhaps is some of the inspiration behind Hispanic Heritage Month, is to make others aware of the many blessings that come from having a diverse society, including people from Hispanic countries, and in turn providing Hispanic populations the opportunity to better engage with us poor folks who aren't as blessed to be part of the Hispanic community. So it's all about being inclusive. I mentioned earlier maybe 5 to 10% population, but they're part of our population.
We are part of this population, and we're part of this community, and so making sure that we have the leeway and that those individuals are feeling as if they belong in this community, that's important for many reasons. And so that's what we're here for. And like I said, leverage us as a resource. We have the passion, the will, and the organization behind us right now that are moving and moving fast. Wonderful. Well, Kat Pascal and Ileana Sepulveda, thank you so much again for coming to Buzz for Good and talking about your work with Latinos Network as we all are celebrating through October the 15th, Hispanic Heritage Month. Thanks again.
Thank you.